All right, now, so I'm going to go into demonstrating the signal on both the computer and on the phone. And the first thing we want to do is to make sure that we install Signal from signal.org. That's signal.org, signal.org. And I have downloaded the installer. When you go there, you can download it for either the computer or for the Mac or for Linux. And so I'm using the Windows computer, so I have that downloaded. So now I'm going to go find the Signal installer. And from here, I can show you how to install it. So I'm going to go to my downloads and find that installer. I'm in my downloads and I'm going to find my Signal installer.
Earlier this week expanded. Signal Desktop Win 1.39.4 X.
So I'm going to going to click on that and start the installation.
0%. Signal setup dialog.
So there goes the installer.
Signal setup 70%. Signal setup dialog.
Says 80%. So when you're doing the installer, you run the installer, it has to download all the components from the web. Now that I have Signal installed, it is time to link it, because right now you're not going to be able to do anything with it until it says Signal unavailable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my phone now.
Scanning face. 9:52 p.m. Device unlocked. Pixel launcher. Thursday, Jan 14.
Open Signal.
Signal.
So when you launch Signal, there are 3 buttons near the top. The top left corner is the settings shortcuts. Then on the right, we got 2 buttons. There's a search, and then there's some more options to the farthest right, all to the top right. So whether you tap on the settings shortcut on the left or you tap on the more options, you're going to find what you're going to find in the settings shortcut on the left. So I'm going to tap instead the more options on the right because it has other stuff that the other one doesn't have.
More options button. Pop up window. New group. List.
So you find new group.
Mark all red.
Mark all red. That is marking all the messages you have as read.
Invite friends.
Invite friends.
Settings.
And settings. So
Message.
Signal.
Navigate up. Button. Out of list.
If I tap here in settings, the first thing on the top is your name and your phone number. And the second thing is the SMS. That is if you want to make Signal become your
notifications on 3:11 SMS and MMS off 2:11.
So you could turn that on if you want it to be your default SMS messaging. And then there's
notifications on 3:11.
Notifications on.
Privacy screen lock off. Registration lock off 4:11.
You go in here, you could choose all kinds of privacy related stuff.
Appearance, theme system default, language system default, 5:11.
Here you can go in and whether you want a dark mode or whatever mode you want.
Chat and media, 6:11.
Chat and media, you can go in here and let's see what we have here. We got.
When using mobile data, images, audio, 2:13.
So when you're using your local mobile data, you could, by default, you can get all of your video and all of that. You can go in and say, hey, if I'm using native data, don't do that.
When using Wi-Fi, images, audio, video, documents, 3 of 13. When roaming, images, audio, video, documents, 4 of 13.
All right.
Chats, heading, 6 of 13.
Under heading and chat.
Message font size, normal, 7 of 13.
For those who can see a little bit, you want to change the fonts or whatever the case may be.
Show invitation prompts. Display invitation prompts for contacts without signal. On. Switch. Check. Use system emoji. Disable signals built-in emoji support. On. Switch. Check. 9 of 13.
Now, I turned this one on because the emojis that are coming from Signal are not accessible. And I thought that if I just turn use the one from the native, that is from my Android phone, instead of using those from Signal, that they may be accessible to me. But you know what? I found out the hard way, rather, that they too were not accessible. So if you're into emojis, I'm not, but if you're into emojis, your best bet is to tap the emoji on your keyboard, like on your Gboard, and use those emojis instead. Those are accessible. But if you don't, you're not going to be able to hear the emojis. You're just unlabeled.
Enter key sends. Pressing the enter key will send text messages. Off. Switch. Not checked. 10 of 13. Backups. Heading. 12 of 13.
Backups heading.
Chat backups. Backup chats to external storage. 13 of 13.
So what that means is that you can go in here and turn on backup. And when you turn on that backup, you can, unlike WhatsApp, that you can have it backed up automatically to your Google Drive and things like that. We don't have that here. So you're going to back it up locally to a storage, external storage. Say if you have an SD card, or you can back it to your phone and then you can copy it to your computer or something like that. So that's what that means. But I also want to mention here in passing that when you do, and you go in here and you tap on it to activate that backup, it's going to give you like a 30 alphanumeric code. You want to copy that and keep, because it's going to give it to you just that one time. All right.
Navigate up button out of list.
That, I think that was the last.
Enter key sends. Pressing the enter back chat backups. Backup chats to external storage. 13 of 13.
That's the last one. So we're going to go back to the top and
Chats and media. 6 of 11. Storage. 7 of 11.
storage. That's you go in here. You can say, hey, keep my messages for only this long.
4.1 MB. Photos, videos, files, audio, heading 2 of 7. List 7 items. Review storage.
So
Message history. Heading 4 of 7.
message history.
Keep messages forever. 5 of 7.
You can keep messages forever, or you could set a time that they would just adios.
Conversation length limit. None. 6 of 7.
And the conversation limit, you can set it to, hey, I only want to get X amount of conversations, but the default is unlimited.
Clear message history. 7 of 7.
All right, so let's go back here and go to the thing that matters most.
Linked devices. 8 of 11.
So linked devices is what we want.
Linked devices. Navigate up button out of list.
And now that we are in the link devices area, there's a button at the bottom that says link new device. And what happens is that when you tap on that, it automatically launches the camera, and you need to point the back of your camera at your computer screen. So now I'm going to find that button at the bottom right that says link new device and tap on it, and then go point it at my computer.
Link new device button. Link devices.
So now I'm going to go point it.
Link this device. It will be able to read all your messages, send messages in your name. Link device.
So I tap
Link
link device.
Use this device's name edit. Laptop AMBP7825. Devices. 8 of 11.
So now that I've linked it, it says the name of it, and it says my laptop, whatever. You can give it whatever name.
Selected. Edit laptop AMBP7825.
I'm going to call it Big Dog.
Choose this device's name edit. Laptop AMB.
So I activate the
laptop
edit
AMBP78.
field, and I'm going to call it,
Selected.
Big Dog. Big Dog.
Signal. Virtual PC.
Okay, so
Sensing contacts and groups.
now it says it's just let it do that.
Meeting controls. Menu. Menu. Signal 2. Signal 2. Sensing contacts and groups.
Now we need to go into the preferences. You can do the traditional method of doing Alt F and go down and find preferences. Like if you do.
Context menu. Real sticker track 1 of 3. T. Preferences. Control comma 2 of 3. T. Quick signal 3 of 3. 2.
So
Menu. Signal 2. Signal.
I'm going to go through the quick route, which is Control comma. That brings up the preferences. Once you do Control comma,
page has 8 headings and 1 link. Link close. Link
you
close.
can actually use your later navigation here. So I'm going to go through the headings. So I hit the heading navigation, letter H.
Preferences heading level 2.
That's preferences, and then down arrow.
Device name Big Dog.
Device name is Big Dog.
Separator. Heading level 3 theme.
Then this the next one is theme.
Blank. System radio button not checked 1 of 7.
System.
Light radio button checked 2 of 7. Dark radio button not checked 3 of 7.
Dark. That's dark mode. If you like that, you hit enter.
Dark radio button checked 3 of 7. Virtual PC cursor.
Now I'm going to hit my heading command again to move to the next heading.
Notifications heading level 3.
That's the notification with down arrow through the options of notification.
Blank. When messages arrive, display notifications that reveal. Blank. Name, content, and actions radio button checked 4 of 7. Name only radio button not checked 5 of 7.
So you have this.
Name, content, and actions radio button checked 4 of 7.
So that's the one that's checked by default. I'm going to move to the next heading.
General heading level 3.
Under general, this is what we have.
Blank. Enable spell check of text enter the message composition box check box checked. Blank. Separator.
Next heading.
Calling heading level 3.
Calling.
Blank. Always relay calls checkbox not checked.
Always relay call. That means if you do that, it's going to relay it through the servers of Signal, which means your number or name will not be seen by the person that you're calling. But according to Signal, sometimes that will lead to poor quality. All right.
Blank. Relay all calls through the Signal server to avoid revealing your IP address to your contact. Enabling will reduce call quality. Blank. Play calling sounds checkbox checked. Show notifications for calls checkbox checked. Enable incoming calls checkbox checked. Separator.
Next heading.
Permissions heading level 3.
Permissions.
Blank. Allow access to the microphone checkbox not checked.
I need to allow that.
Allow access to the microphone checkbox checked. Allow access to the camera checkbox not checked.
If you want someone to see your knucklehead, you allow this.
Allow access to the camera checkbox checked.
Yeah, watch my knucklehead.
Separator. Blank.
Next heading.
Heading level 3 contacts.
Contacts.
Import now button.
Then there's import now. If you click here.
Close settings, preferences, device name, Big Dog theme, system, light, archive, menu bar, notifications when messages arrive, display notification.
All right. So now,
link close settings.
If you do control home, that takes you to the top, and there's a close that hit enter or space there. That closes this panel. That is the preferences panel. So we're back to Signal, and here you can use your letter B, or you could use the arrow keys to find the contacts and things like that.
Search button. AP Austin Pinto button.
There's Austin there.
DL Dennis Long button.
Dennis there. Now, here's the thing I want to mention here in passing, though, that after you got this going and someone calls you, just use your letter B. It will take you to the buttons. There are two buttons. The first one is the decline button, and the second one is the answer button. Now, these buttons are unlabeled. Now, if you're using JAWS, while that call is going through and you hit letter B and it takes you to the first one, which is decline. If you want to label it, you do Control Insert Tab, and that brings up the dialog to label that button. So you label it, give it a name, maybe decline or whatever, and do the same thing, the next unlabeled button, and do the same Control Insert Tab and give it a label of answer call or whatever you want to give it. And that will be how you answer calls using your computer. Now, quickly now to the phone. There's not much difference. Everything's about the same. So there we are. And I'm back to the main UI. And so I just sent my friend Lydia a little message. So it says delivered and things like that. So one thing to keep in mind here is that Signal, unlike WhatsApp, does not have those tabs, because in WhatsApp you have things like the chat tab, the status tab, and the calls tab. We don't have that here with Signal. So the one screen you see, that's all you have. You can just scroll up and down through the contacts, or the messages rather, that you've received. Now, at the bottom of the screen here are two buttons. There is
Open camera button out of list.
Open camera. You tap on that, it's going to turn on your selfie camera.
New conversation button.
And new conversation. Now, when you tap on new conversation,
Show in English, US, QWERTY, keyboard.
and of course, you could type the name of the person that you want to, correspond with.
Contact photo, Dennis Long, 5 contact photo, Bosnia Macy member, 5 contact photo, Park Ahmed, Pakistan.
So
contact photo, Dennis Long, 570,
let me say I want to send Dennis a message. Dennis, I'm not going to send you a message. And so here at the bottom is the compose. So the edit field to the left of it is that emoji which I told you if you tap on, it's not going to work.
Sticker keyboard page image button, row 2, column 3,
that's all you hear.
Sticker keyboard page image button, sticker keyboard page image button, sticker keyboard page image button, row 2, sticker keyboard page image button, column 3, sticker keyboard page image button, column.
That's all you hear. So you're better off using the emoji keyboard on your virtual keyboard. Now, the next thing we want to do, I tap here. And what we want to do from here, I'm going to close out of the signal from my computer because it's coming on. There we go. So here, to the right of the edit field, we have
your safety number with Dennis Long has changed. Toggle quick camera attachment door button out of list.
There's camera attachment,
record and send audio attachment button,
record audio,
add attachment button,
or attach whatever you want to attach, and that will be Signal. So it's very simplistic, very easy, and using the screen reader, it works. Yes, there may be quirks on the side of the computer, but it's better than anything else that we have currently if you're looking for privacy. And that will be the demonstration for Signal.
It is worth noting that Signal is also available on the iPhone. The only difference is you cannot set it as your default messaging app, but it is available and it is accessible from what I have been able to see.